I know a lot of people have struggled with the recruitment, engagement and retention of staff. Could you expand on that?
I think I'll go to set the scene. I'll go back a little bit further.
Okay.
When Investors in People sort of first launched, my mother was very interested in the people and culture and training and development of the team at the Headland. And the Headland was one of the first companies in the Southwest to get Investors in People and then to get Investors in People Platinum Award. And we've had for decades a very strong, I hate the word people plan, because we're very aware that for a lot of youngsters, we've always employed a lot of young people here, we could potentially offer them an amazing career, an amazing job, and for those who want to travel the world, leave Cornwall, an amazing route out. And hopefully they'll come back again.
Okay.
And a lot of them do. And so I think through the decades, that is a very well-established sort of strategy that we have and that people recognise us for. Then came the pandemic, Brexit. We had a lot of European staff before that.
And how many staff have you got? And does that fluctuate?
243. Just under the 250 mark, thank goodness. And it does fluctuate. We do over the summer months. We have a lot of university students who come and work for 6 or 8 weeks. I mean, Newquay is the ultimate party town. Live hard, party hard. They definitely do that. Definitely burning the candle at both ends. But everyone has a lot of fun. We don't advertise for seasonal positions. We tend to have a very flexible working approach. We have a lot of staff out of choice who choose to have 0-hour contracts because they're chasing the waves.
Okay.
Or they're here to have fun as well as to work. As long as you earn enough money to pay the bar tab at the end of the night, I think it's some of their mentalities. So yes, our staff does fluctuate a little, but we normally are around the 200 to 240 mark generally. We have definitely seen a decrease in European staff, which for us, what was particularly challenging for us was a lot of the young staff, the European staff that came over were young. And if you've never worked in the UK before, you can't get settled status.
No.
So where we would normally have a significant number of Spanish, Italian, French, German, young staff, Eastern European young staff would come over for a year, 18 months to practice their English, to have a great fun time.
Yep.
They can't get the settled status now. So there's a whole tranche of young people who effectively can't come and work here, which is, I do think, is a little unfair for young people. So with that, though, we have really focused our attentions on young people in Cornwall. And in September 2021, we launched the Headland's 14 to 16-year-old young person placement scheme, where for 6 weeks of the year, over the summer holidays, young people get to come and be paid £8.81 an hour to come and learn about hospitality and have a fantastic time. And on that note, for anyone who's watching, 14 to 15-year-olds don't have a minimum wage. And if anyone wants to campaign to their local MP, that they should. I think that it's deeply unfair. And there is a real sense of child exploitation that goes on. And I speak at a lot of schools. I speak at a school or a college or university about once a week about this. And the number of young people who are being taken advantage of is terrible. It's really, and it's under 16-year-olds. And so that's another, I'll get off my soapbox now. I'll get off my soapbox.
These are really important issues.
And I think that, so we have these young people who come to join us who are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and the easiest people in the world to train because they're so excited. They've got a proper job and they get a pay packet, and they're getting a great pay packet at the end of the month. And we tend to retain them. So this year we had 10 this summer. I think we might even be all 10 are still working with us now in September.
Okay.
Which is an amazing retention rate in an industry that doesn't historically retain staff that well.
Sure.
Yeah, so we look after them.
So that's a great area to focus on, because we know managing and measuring gets jobs done. Do you and have you always measured retention rates at your business? You've always
Yeah.
Okay. And because the Oxford University research that we've looked into tells us what the costs are of recruitment, what the costs are of loss of productivity, what the costs are of loss of turnover. Those are three important areas because they're so vast. When you lose, especially the head of a department somewhere in that area. But it doesn't matter. If you lose a person, you've got that cost and you've got that time and you've got that energy that's all disappeared out of the business. And if they go to somewhere else, and if it's a competitor, it's even worse because all of that knowledge then is a drain.
So I think we might be slightly different in how we view this. I think we're very fortunate. We're one of the larger single-site hospitality businesses in Cornwall. When we've got young people who've been with us for maybe a couple of years, we've had a lot of training with us, we actively help them to find jobs up country in other five-star hotels, generally independently owned if we can, because Cornish people tend to come back. And we have our current operations manager, interim operations manager, started as a porter with us, worked his way up to being a duty manager, then went to New Zealand, did 18 months in New Zealand working, 18 months I think, and then came back as our reception manager and is now our interim operations manager.
So long-term thinking, long-term strategy.
We're here for the long term. I know that some of the young people we've helped them to find jobs elsewhere, we won't see them return for another 10 years. Okay. But we're happy to play that game.
Okay. Because it's a long game.
It's a long game for us. It's like employing the 14-year-olds. Yes, in that first summer, they're brilliant, but they do need a lot of support, a lot of training, a lot of confidence giving, life skills to be taught to them. But for us, we've worked out that we've got one young person who's fantastic. She's going to go and become a doctor. I mean, she will. She has viewed this is how she's learning people skills. So when she's a doctor, she can be the best doctor she can be and be able to talk to people. That's why she's took the summer placement job. But she's also said that from now until she becomes a doctor, she's going to keep coming back here. That's why we do it. That's so for a normal 3-year university university place, it's about 7 years of school holidays, university holidays that we will have someone.
What an insight. That's unique, I think. We've interviewed a number of hospitality type businesses and that long-term thinking. And I know that you're here and I know that Cornwall is a very different place to most places because those people are going to come back. Why wouldn't you want to come back here? It's beautiful. Yeah. But what a great strategy. But vision, that's about vision, isn't it?